Where today we're going to make a delicious meatloaf. This meatloaf has a nice tangy ketchup top to it and it's so very delicious. Hi, welcome to Cooking with Chef Fred, where I teach you the best tips and skills for everyday cooking that you can share with your family and friends. Now, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification so that you can be alerted to all new videos. So let's get into today's recipe. Okay, so for today's recipe, we're going to need 2.5 pounds of ground beef, 1 onion that we will dice up. I've got garlic paste is what I'm using today, so equivalent to 3 garlic cloves, 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, and we'll get 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon or teaspoon of adobe, 1/4 cup of parsley, and 1/2 cup of ketchup is what is in today's recipe. Now let's get putting this recipe together. Okay, now what I like to do is I just take my onion, I like to mix it up in the blender so it's nice and fine. That's about 3 cloves of garlic. And then let's give this a chop. Okay, and that's how I like it, almost into a paste. Okay, so we've got our onion and our garlic. And then what I like to do is pour in our 1/2 cup of milk. And then I like to crack my eggs in a separate bowl just so I make sure I don't get any shell in them. Crack our eggs in. And we're going to give that a mix. Then we're going to put in our 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire. Add that in. Makes it nice and good. That smells good. And then for my ketchup is 1/2 cup. So we add in 1/2 cup of ketchup. Give that a nice mix. Then we add in our 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. Get that into the mix. And then we've got our parsley. Our parsley, 1/4 cup. And then the adobe is a teaspoon. The adobe, if you've never used it, it has got a little bit of garlic and onion, salt and pepper. It is a real good seasoning. It makes everything nice. I use that on hamburgers, chicken, pork chops. It's good to use on just about anything. So we take and we've got our slurry mixed up now. I just like to use the gloves, just keeps my hands a little bit cleaner. So what we're going to do is take our meat now. Put all of our meat. We take our meat and we just give it a nice mix. And we just squish it all together and mix it up real good until all of that goodness is mixed throughout the meat. Mixing it till it's well incorporated. And then once it's well incorporated, I take it and kind of make it into a ball. Then I take it and I dump it into my pan like this. And then I like to make it into a loaf. And what I do is I pat it down so that it's into a loaf, but I like to leave these edges over here open so that the grease that comes out of the ground beef, now this is a 90-10 ground beef, so it's not going to have much grease, but I make it into a loaf and then I leave this open for the grease to go while it's cooking. We've got the glaze to make. Let's make the glaze next. Okay, now the glaze that goes on top, we're going to use ketchup, mustard, brown sugar, adobe, and paprika. So let's get this together. We're going to use a cup of ketchup, by the way. Okay, a cup of ketchup, a quarter cup of brown sugar, and then a teaspoon of dried mustard if you have it. If you don't, I just use yellow mustard. During this crisis, you kind of just use whatever you got. So I put a little bit of mustard. That gives it a nice tang. Then we're going to do a teaspoon of paprika and a teaspoon of adobe. And then we give this a nice mix, and this makes a nice tangy sweet topping that goes on, that we put on now right before we bake it, and it bakes in there and it has just a really nice flavor. And then what we're going to do is take this topping and put on it. And then just take and spread it around. If it goes down the sides a little bit, that is okay. Just spread it out all over just like that. And you're ready for the oven. Now we take our gorgeous meatloaf, we put it in a 350-degree oven for 50 to 55 minutes until the nice internal temperature comes out to be about 145 degrees. Okay, we're through with our meatloaf. Here, this is what it looks like done. Now we're going to take a bite of it. Oh yes, that's very delicious. It's got that nice tangy sweet top, and it's got that very good soft meat. It's very, very delicious. You need to try this at home. This is Chef Fred saying go and cook something great, and we'll see you on the next video. We love you. Bye for now.